Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about ellipse. We have learned before that ellipse is one of those conic sections that is created when you have a cone and a plane, and this plane is crossing the cone kind of slanted like what you see here. This is how the ellipse will be created. As you see, we have two different kind of ellipses here. One is horizontal, the other one is vertical ellipse. Let's see first of all how an ellipse can be graphed. So look at this shape that you see here, this graph. We have a Desmos activity here. We have an ellipse, and we know all ellipses have 2 points. They are called focus points or foci. If we take a string and connect these two foci together, and then stretch the string around these 2 points, then we can create this ellipse. Let me show that to you. So as you see, we take a string, connect these two, and stretch it around. That will be an ellipse. If we stretch this string horizontally, then we can find the longest diameter of the ellipse. Let me show that here to you. So if you stretch that string horizontally, you're going to have the longest diameter of the ellipse, which is called major axis. The focus points are always on the major axis, these 2 points. The shortest diameter is called minor axis. Also, we call the two endpoints of the major axis as vertex, two endpoints of the minor axis as covertex. There's also one point here, which is right in the middle of the ellipse. This is called the center of the ellipse. Now, the distance between the center and the vertex, which is basically half of the major axis, is called A. So half of the major axis is A, and half of the minor axis is called B. Also, the distance between the focus points, so this is focus, this one is also focus point. The distance between focus point and the center is called C. You can also find that here on the left side. Okay, so A half of major, B half of minor, C half of, C is basically the distance between focus and the center. So if half of major is A, of course the major itself will be 2A, and the minor, the whole minor will be 2B. We have the same thing here on a vertical ellipse as well. The major axis is the longest one, major axis, and the shortest one is minor axis. Again, we have center. Focus points are always on the major axis. So this time the focus points are vertically aligned with the center. For the other one, the focus points were horizontally aligned with the center. Again, we call half of the major as A, half of the minor as B, and the distance between focus and the center as C. Again, we have vertex points. These two are the vertex points, and these two are covertex. Covertex. Okay. Now there is a relation between A, B, and C, and that's here. C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. And notice that A is always greater than B because A is the name of the half of major and B is half of minor. Of course, A is going to be greater than B. Okay, now let's look at the equation that we have. This is a standard form of equation of an ellipse. X minus h squared over a squared, y minus k squared over b squared. H and k, as you can guess, is the H and K are the coordinates of center. H and K, the center. A and B, obviously, half of major and half of minor. And notice that on the right side of an ellipse equation, we always have 1. Now look at the vertical ellipse. Again, the equation is very similar to the horizontal, except that this time A is under Y. So for the horizontal, major axis is horizontal, so the A value will be under X. For the vertical, the A value is under B. So if I'm given an equation of a ellipse, how do I know if that's a vertical ellipse or horizontal ellipse? So let me show this to you. If I have x minus 2 squared, let's say, over 16 plus y minus 4 squared over, let's say, 81 equal to 1. So you look at the bigger denominator. The bigger denominator is always a. If this a is a squared, basically. If the bigger number is under y, this is vertical. But if you have, let's say, x minus 2 squared over 81 plus y minus 4 squared over 16 equal to 1, now the bigger number is under x, so this is horizontal. So this is how you can say if you have a vertical or horizontal ellipse. Now, let's just see how we can find the coordinates of the focus point. So look at the focus point. It's horizontally aligned with the C value, with the center. That means the y of these 2 points, or basically the y of these 3 points, are the same because horizontally they are on the same line. But to find the x of these 2 points, we need to go C to the right or C to the left to find the focus point. So I can say to find the focus point, I need to take the x of the center, which is H, plus C to get to the x of this point, and minus C to get to the other point, the left side. So that's the x of the focus point, and y of the focus point is the same as y of the center, which is K. So this is how you find the focus point for horizontal ellipse. Now, how do we find the focus point for a vertical ellipse? As you see, the focus points are vertically aligned with the center. That means the x coordinates of all of these are the same, but the y are different. Y is minus C and plus C. So the focus point in this case will be H is the same, it doesn't change, but the K is going to change. The Y value is going to change. That's plus and minus C. So this is how you find the focus points. Okay. Now let's go to this example. We want to change this equation, which is the equation of an ellipse, into a standard form. So how do I change this to a standard form? First of all, we don't want to have any number just hanging out here on the left side. So I'm going to move this to the right side, plus 81. So I'm going to have x minus 2 squared plus 9, y plus 4 squared equal to 81. Okay, now we need to have a 1 on the right side. How do I get rid of this 81? I need to divide it by 81. And if I do something to one side of the equation, I have to do that to the other side as well. Okay, so these two cancel. It's equal to 1. Now 9 divided by 9 is 1. 81 divided by 9 is 9. And this one cannot be simplified anymore. So the equation will be x minus 2 squared over 81 plus y plus 4 squared over 9 equal to 1. Okay, so Now let's see if we can find the focus points. First of all, we know that this is a horizontal ellipse. Why? Because the bigger number is under x. So this is horizontal. That means focus points can be found using h plus and minus c and k. So do I have h and k? Yes. H is this value 2. H is 2. It should be plus and minus a c value. And k is the number which is subtracted from y. It's -4. So basically, we found it from the center of the ellipse. The center of the ellipse was 2 and -4. So we got these from here. Okay, now how do I find the c value? We have learned before that c is, let me write that here, c squared equal to a squared minus b squared. Okay, so what is a squared? That's the bigger number here. It's 81. What is b squared? That's the smaller number, 9. Okay, and that will be 72. So c is equal to square root of 72. So 2 plus and minus the square root of 72 is going to give us the focus point. Okay, now I'm ready to graph this ellipse. The center is at 2 and -4. So let's say here 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the center of this ellipse. Now to find the focus points, I need to go 2 plus and minus square root of 72 to find the x of the focus point. So square root of 72 is 8.5. That means from this x, which is 2, I need to go 8.5 to the right. Let's say, for example, 8.5 is here and 8.5 to the left. Of course, my graph is not going to be very accurate, but this is just an estimation. So we found the two focus points. We moved square root of 72 to the right, square root of 72 to the left. And the y value is, of course, the same as the y of the center. So we found the focus points. Now, what are the two vertex points? Because we need the vertex points, which are the leftmost and the rightmost points of this ellipse. How do we find them? Let's go back here. The vertex is the center minus a and plus a. So according to the a value, which is here equal to 9. Why is a 9? Because a squared was 81, so a will be 9. So based on this value, I'm going to find my vertex points. From the center, I'm going to go 9 to the right, almost, let's say here, and 9 to the left to find the vertex. I need to find the co-vertex points, which are the top and the bottommost points. How far do I need to go up and down? That is b value. From the center, you go b up and b down to find the co-vertex. What is the b value? The b value is 3 because b squared was 9. So I need to go 3 up and 3 down to find my co-vertex points. 3 up and 3 down. Let's say, for example, something like this. Now I can start graphing my ellipse. So it's going to be something like this that is passing through the vertex and co-vertex points. Now the focus points are these two in the middle. And I can also graph my major and the minor axis. Of course, you know that my graph is not really accurate, but it's going to be something like this. Okay. Now let's work on the second example that we have here. So we have this equation of a of an ellipse and want to change it to a standard form. The problem is that, first of all, this equation doesn't have any perfect squares like this, but that is what we need first of all. So I'm going to find perfect squares, complete the squares, and find perfect squares. This is what we learned in the circle lesson. Okay, so first of all, have the x terms together, which is 4x squared and negative 48x. And the other one is the y terms, 9y squared and 72y. And also we're going to move the number to the other side. So negative 144 will be on the right side. Now, we're going to look at each group that we have here. Each group that we have here. These are the x values, these are the y values. Now we are going to change these expressions into perfect squares. How? By finding the missing term. But before that, we need to have the x squared or the y squared with coefficient of 1. That means we want to get rid of this 4. How? By factoring the 4 out. So I'm going to factor the 4 out. When I factor something out, that means we're dividing the term by that factor. So these two will go away and we'll have only x squared, and negative 48 divided by 4 is negative 12x. Okay, now I'm going to leave some space here because I want to find the missing term and add it here to create my perfect square. The same here, we're going to factor the 9 out in order to make the y squared with coefficient of 1. So factor the 9 out, it's like you're dividing by 9. Okay, so this will be y squared, and the second one will be 72 divided by 9, 8y, equal to, oh, and also I forgot, 8y, and I'm going to leave a space here to add my third term, which is the missing term. Okay, so 144. Now, I need to find the missing term. What is the missing term here? That is the b value, which is negative 12. Let me write that here. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. And then raise this negative 6 to the power of 2. That's 36. So you add 36 here. Okay. And for the other one, what is the missing term? Again, take the b value, which is positive 8, divide by 2 is 4, and then raise it to the power of 2, that is 16. Now, we have an equation here. That means the left side and the right side should be equal to each other, but we added something to the left side. We didn't do that to the right side. We need to do the same thing to the right side, so we keep the balance. So the left and the right side are equal to each other. So whatever I added here, I'm going to add to the right side as well. But here's the thing, in this case, I have not added 36. Basically, I have added 4 times 36 because this 36 is inside this parenthesis. So I added 436 to the left side. I'm going to add the same thing to the right side as well. 4 times 36 is 144. So I add it. Again, the same thing here. I didn't add 16. I added 9 times 16. So I do the same thing on the right side. It's again 144. Okay. Now, if we simplify these two cancel, and we'll have only 144 on the left side. Now, let's go back here. How can I change this to a perfect square? I'm going to keep the 4 and write x. Now, x plus and minus what? Whatever number that goes here is equal to the b value divided by 2. Simply negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6 squared. And here, I'm going to keep the 9 first, and y plus or minus what number? That is the b value divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4 squared. and the right side is 144. Now there's only one thing left, and that is making the right side as 1. So I'm going to divide 144 by itself. So this cancel and it will be equal to 1. But I'm going to do the same thing to the left side as well, because that's what we need to do. Divide by 144. So if we simplify, we will have x minus 6 squared over 36, because 4 divided by 4 is 1, 144 divided by 4 is 36, plus y plus 4 squared over 9 divided by 9, 144 divided by 1 is 16. So divide by 16, notice this is a parenthesis, equal to 1. So this is the equation of this ellipse. Now, can you tell me if we have a vertical or horizontal ellipse? Yes, we're going to have a horizontal ellipse again because the bigger number is under x. So again, we have a horizontal ellipse. So first find the center. The center is 6 and negative 4. C is 6 and negative 4. Okay, so 6 to the right and negative 4 to the bottom. Let's say almost here. This is the center. Now, what is the focus point? Focus points will be the x of the center plus and minus c value, and the y of the center will be the same. Now I need to find the c value. What is c value? It's c squared is a squared minus b squared. Okay, a squared is 36 here. So 36 minus b squared is 16. So it's 20. So c is root 20. So this is 6 plus and minus root 20. Okay, so we go square root of 20 to the right and the left side of the center to find the focus point. Square root of 20 is almost 4.5. So I need to go 4.5 to the right. Let's say it's this one and this one, 4.5 to the left to find the focus points. Now, what are the vertex points? Vertex, as again you see here, is the center plus and minus a value. What is a value? It's 6, because a squared is 36. That means a is 6. So I need to go 6 to the right and 6 to the left. So it's going to be, let's say, this point and somewhere around here maybe. Or, oh no, I'm sorry. Because this point has x of 6, so 6 to the left will be exactly here on the y-axis. So these two are the focus points, I'm sorry, the vertex points. Now the co-vertex points, we need to go b up and b down. What is b? B squared is 16, that means b is 4. So we need to go 4 up and 4 down. So 4 up will be here, 4 down will be almost here. So this will be the graph of the ellipse. Okay, now let's work on the next example. We want to write the equation of an ellipse with a major axis of 8. So major axis is 8, and full 5 points at 0 and 2, 0 and negative 2. So first of all, when we talk about major axis, if major axis is 8, that means 2a is equal to 8, because we learned before that this is the major axis, half of that is a. So the major axis itself will be 2a, and minor axis will be 2b, because we have half of them as a and b. Anyway, so here 2a is 8, that means a is 4. So this is the first thing that we know. Half of the major axis is 4. Now, let's see what are the focus points. So I'm going to start with graphing the focus points. Okay. Focus points are at 0 and 2, 0 and let's say 2 is here, 0 and negative 2. So these are the focus points. This is going to tell me if I have a horizontal or vertical ellipse. Of course, this is vertical ellipse because the focus points are vertical, basically vertically aligned with each other and with the center. So I have a vertical ellipse. Now, where is the center? It's in the middle of the focus points. I have gone 2 up and 2 down, so the center will be here at 0 and 0. So center is at 0 and 0. That is basically H and K value. Now I need to find A and B because the equation of an ellipse looks like x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equal to 1. But where is the a and b? In this case, because we have a vertical ellipse, the a is going to be here. It's basically here, not under x. So this should be the equation of my ellipse. I don't have, basically we have h and k, which are 0 and 0, but we need to find a and b. We also found a, which is 4. So we have only one missing part, which is b. How do I find b? We learned before that c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. So here we are trying to find c. We have a, which is 4, so 4 squared is 16. But what is the b value? So basically we have two missing terms here. But I can find the c from the equation because, from the graph that we have here, because we know that c is the distance between the focus and the center. We saw that here. See, distance between focus and center, distance between focus and center. So the c value is 2 here. So I'm going to write c equal to 2. So this will be 4. 2 squared is 4 equal to 16 minus b squared. And from here, b squared will be 12. So b will be radical 12. However, we don't need b basically, we just need b squared, which is going to replace here. So I have my equation now. X minus 0 squared will be just x squared. B squared is 12. Y minus 0, that's just y squared. A squared, if a is 4, a squared will be 16 equal to 1. So this will be the equation of this ellipse. Okay, now let's go to the next example here. We want to write the equation of this ellipse, which is given to us. We have negative 3 and 2, and negative 1 and negative 1.5 as the 2 points on the ellipse. As you see, the 2 points that are given are the highest point of this ellipse, which is basically the vertex. As you see, we have a vertical ellipse here, and this one will be the vertex. And this one is the rightmost point, which is basically the co-vertex of the ellipse. Now, this means if I draw a straight line here and a straight line in this way, where these 2 points are crossing each other, that's going to be the center of this ellipse. So how do I find this point? Look at the line that we have here, all the points on this line have the same x, which is -3 and 2, because they're aligned on the same vertical line. So the center has an x of -3. And all the lines on this line, this horizontal line, have the same y value of this co-vertex because they are on the same horizontal line. So the y is the same, -1.5. Okay, so this is how you find the x and y of the center. Next, you need to find this distance, which is going to be a, and also this distance, which is the b value. And that's also easy. The distance between these 2 points, to find that, you just need to subtract the y values from each other. So 2 minus -1.5. Subtract the y values, that's going to give you the distance between them. So that's 2 plus 1.5, which is 3.5. This is the a value. How do you find the b value? Subtract the x of these 2 points. So I can do -3 minus -1. That's -3 plus 1, which is -2. However, because we're talking about the distance, not the direction, so we can ignore the negative and say b value is equal to 2 here. Okay, so we found a and b. We also have the center, so we have everything to write the equation. It's going to be x minus 8, which is -3. X minus -3 is +3 squared. And then y minus k minus -1.5 will be +1.5 squared equal to 1. Now, what goes to the denominator of these two? Because we have a vertical ellipse, the bigger number is going to go under y. Bigger number was a. So a squared, which is 3.5 squared, will go here. 3.5 squared will go here. And the smaller number, which is 2, is going to go here, 2 squared. And that's the equation of this side. Okay, this time we're trying to find the full side of an ellipse with the endpoints at 2 and 1, -6 and 1. So let's find the endpoints first. So 2 and 1, let's say here and 1 here, and -6 and 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. These are the two endpoints. That means the one axis is going to be here. I don't know yet if it's major axis or minor axis. I know that this is just an axis. We will find this out later. And we have a minor axis of length 4. So let's look at this. The length of this axis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not 4. So that means this is the bigger one, and the smaller one is 4. So basically, I have a horizontal ellipse because the longest line is horizontal. Now I can basically graph the minor axis. How? By finding the midpoint of these two. So this was 8, half of that is 4. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be almost, I know, you know that my graph is not very accurate, but it's going to be almost here. This is half. So the length of the minor axis is 4. That means I go 2 up and 2 down. Okay, so this will be the graph of my ellipse. Now, I need to find the center first. What is the coordinate of the center? The coordinate of the center, you can find it from here because, first of all, it's on the same line as the vertex points, the two endpoints. the y value will be the same. So C has the same y value of these 2 points. It's 1. What is the x of this point? That's midpoint of the 2 vertices. So to find the midpoint, you just need to take the x of the start and the end, -6 and 2 divided by 2 is -4 divided by 2, it's -2. So it's at -2. You could also say that by just looking at the graph, because we have moved 4 left here to find this point. So you could also find that from that way. So this is the center. Now, we said minor axis is 4. Minor axis is 2b. That means b is equal to 2, half of that. What is major axis? Major axis was 8. This length was 8. So half of that is 4. That means a is 4. So we found a and b. Now we can write the equation. X minus -2 is +2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equal to 1. Now, which one goes under x? Because this is horizontal, the bigger one goes under x. 4 squared. Notice a squared goes here, raised to the power of 2. And for this one, 2 squared goes here. So this will be the equation of this. Now, how do I find the focus points? The focus points are going to be somewhere, let's say, like here or here. It's not, this is basically not accurate. I'm just saying it could be somewhere between these 2 points. Now, how do I find it? The focus points, because they are on the same horizontal line as the center, so they have the same y value. Y value is going to be 1. But what is the x value? That's going to be x of the center, which is -2, plus and minus c value. What is c value? C squared is a squared minus b squared. A squared is 16. B squared is 4. So it's 12. Then C will be square root of 12. So -2 plus and minus the square root of 12. These are the coordinates of the focus. Okay, so this was today's lesson. Make sure to practice more to learn everything about this lesson. Have a great day.